Anken Ma'at. I hope that you are all with us this morning on the last day of January of 2021. Yes, this year is going quickly already. We are so pleased that you have joined us. Welcome to Kemetic Ascension, brought to you by the Shrine of Ma'at. We are so honored that you have chosen to spend your Sunday with us, and we absolutely are excited that you are here and that we are here and that we together can once again glorify the names of our African ancestors. We begin by asking where you are in the world. You know that this pandemic has kept so many of us apart, but there has been an advantage, and that advantage is that perhaps we are reaching a larger audience. Perhaps we are able to speak to people from all around the world. It is magnificent when we come together and give praise to our ancestors, give praise to the Netagru. So please tell us where in the world you are. Let us know. If you're a regular participant, you know that I'm going to say, let us know where and how long you have been part of the Kemetic Ascension experience. Please tell us where you are. It's of critical importance, particularly at a time when our shrine has in some ways been reduced to just myself and Chief Priestess Anika. So the two of us are here, but we know that so many of you are out there. We know that our words absolutely are not restricted to the boundaries of this block, the boundaries of this borough, the boundaries of this city, even the boundaries of this country. And so we are waiting to hear from you. We want to know where you are in the world as we come to you on Facebook and on YouTube.
So we have Jehuti Mess OG the Fourth, who's been with us since the beginning.
Yes.
Let's see, we have Ethiopia in the house.
Ethiopia. We don't often hear Ethiopia. That's great. And let me say Anken Ma'at Jehuti Mess. It's always good that you're with us. Dwa, dwa, dwa.
We have Kenya.
Kenya.
Yes.
So we're going to the continent right off the bat, huh?
Yes. We have
Kenya and Ethiopia.
Sinet Cheryl in the house. Send Tehuti
Sinet
forever.
Cheryl out of the DMV area.
Yes.
Send Tehuti forever.
Phoenix.
Send Tehuti forever. We need to chat. I'm going to definitely try to set something up this week with you if you're available.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Winston-Salem. Who's in Winston-Salem?
Bonita Sutton.
Yeah, I thought that was a familiar location. Mm-hmm. Has Bonita been with us before?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Daytona Beach, Florida. She said she's just a visitor, but she's...
From Daytona Beach?
No.
Bonita?
Bonita, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, wonderful.
San Diego.
Welcome, Bonita.
It's the second time for San Diego. Arinda Ross. Let's see, Tracy from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Let's see.
And this is on Facebook or YouTube?
This is YouTube.
This is YouTube.
Yeah, Wilson, North Carolina, Texas City, Texas.
Powerful.
Queens, New York.
Who's in Queens, New York?
It says From Darkness to Light. I don't know the name. And
I ask about Queens, New York because that's the borough that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm. Harker Heights, Texas.
And I know we've heard Harker Heights before.
Yes.
I think the last time I heard it was the first time I'd heard it. So it's wonderful. Welcome to you in Harker Heights.
We have Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Tashi Smart, I remember that name, back in the house. Larry Chandler. Let's see, Derek Grant.
Wonderful.
Spokane, Washington in the house.
On the other side of the country. Wonderful.
Lower East Side, New York City, Morris Goodman.
Wow. Go ahead, Lower East Side.
We have Libya in
A
the
short
house.
chain ride away.
Obibini is back.
Libya. Yes, we
Surrender.
remember that we are reaching Libya. We're in the sort of the central or northwest portion of the continent.
We have Germany.
Germany in the house. Wonderful.
Yes. Douglasville, Georgia. For 2 years, Demetra Bryant. We have Aurora, Colorado, Lake Davis. North Philly, Larry Chandler. Guyana, your Your family's home time.
Guyana. Wonderful. We're in Guyana. Guyana, tell us where you're at. My mother is from Guyana. And you know that she says that she's from Georgetown, and everyone in Georgetown says they're by the seawall. Listen. You probably know what that means better than I do.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City.
Atlanta, Houston. We have Sinette Fanta Tracy.
Wonderful.
Hyattsville, Maryland. Portland, Oregon. Dover, Delaware. Wales, UK.
I don't know if we've heard Wales before.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Chanel is in the Chantel is in the house.
Chantel, we just saw you yesterday.
That's right.
Amazing. It's wonderful to see you online, just as we saw you yesterday. We were able to do a magnificent baby blessing for her son yesterday, and that was wonderful. She's out in Long Island. I think Westbury is that area of Long Island.
Okay, let's see. Where else? Brooklyn, New York. Lorraine David. Shout outs from Raka, says Shannon. Thank you very much for the stars, Sinette Fafanta.
Go ahead. Sinette Fafanta Tracy with us.
Yes.
One of the initiates of the Shrine of Ma'at.
Fayetteville, North Carolina. We have Canada. So we have Canada on Facebook and we have Canada
on YouTube.
Yeah, then Philadelphia, Sinette Lisa.
Wonderful.
Let's see, Long Island, Tiffany McLean. Connecticut, where's the shot? She's not on yet. We got Connecticut in the house. We have more from the UK. We have North Palm Beach, Palm Beach, Florida. Michelle is in the house. Mendez.
Michelle Mendez.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Aboot Wasseret is in the house.
And Michelle Mendez is soon to be one of the initiates of the Shrine of Ma'at. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And I hope that she'll also be following us when we take our trip to Kemet this year.
And so Neka, who's from Guyana, is from Charleston, Georgetown, now living in Diamond.
I wish I knew what you were referring to. I need to get to Guyana and to really experience my maternal homeland. So I know what you're talking about, but that's good. I'm going to tell my mom that's where you are, and she's going to say, oh yes, did you ask her this? And I'll be like, oh.
We have more in Kenya. So we have Kenya on YouTube and Kenya on Facebook.
Wow, go ahead. We're reaching Kenya.
Sinette Sandra is in the house.
Wow. I think Kenya is the furthest away that we might have heard so far today.
Let's see.
Sinette Sandra, you said?
Yes.
Welcome. Ankin Ma'at to you.
Then we have Brother Rich Douglin.
Wonderful. A regular.
Thank you for the stars, both from Rich and from Michelle.
Dwa.
Yes, I think that is everyone so far. But people continue to come in.
I'm going to say to you folks
Memphis, Tennessee is here.
Memphis, Tennessee, that city named after our Kemetic city that was first known as Menefer. Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to say to you folks that all day long on YouTube, we have people announcing where they are. And I want to say that even though you may be watching after our live broadcast, it is magnificent for you to do that because we want to know where you are. The Shrine of Ma'at is preparing to branch out and to set some other centers down. I'm telling you, if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, perhaps we would be doing this sooner. But as we begin to set some spaces down, some places down, some other sections of the body of the Shrine of Ma'at, we need to know where you are so that we know whether there are small conglomerates of folks who have been interested in the Shrine of Ma'at. And of course, in those places that we have initiates, that would even be a great fit. So definitely, we are looking forward to do this really, really soon. So wonderful. It's wonderful. You may actually have heard me several times mention initiates. And so I think it's apropos now for me to remind you that the Shrine of Ma'at is going to be having its next initiation, and it will begin in late February. Now, I know you heard me say late February before, and you probably are sitting on your application. Don't. In order to become a full member of the Shrine of Ma'at, in order to be closer into the innermost circle of the Shrine of Ma'at. We want to actually receive your applications, and you will be interviewed. There is a process. So you should know that we're going to be closing the window on applications to become full members of the Shrine of Ma'at in just a few short weeks. So don't wait. And as we say that, you should know, someone here is saying, well, what is initiation? Initiation is a comprehensive introduction into the Kemetic spiritual tradition, so that you truly understand all aspects of the tradition. Now, it is a beginning. That's why it's called an initiation. You are initiating your life in the Kemetic tradition. And some of you have probably already been practicing for some time, but having a comprehensive tradition orientation is helpful. An orientation to the diet of the Shrine of Ma'at, or of the modern Kemetic tradition. An orientation to the Kemetic language. An orientation to the spiritual philosophy, understanding how to go forward. An understanding of how we apply, how Kemetic practitioners apply the concept, the moral, ethical guide of Ma'at. You're going to learn all of those things, and you're also going to get some history, because remember, if we are trying to reconstruct this great tradition of our African ancestors, we need to know what it is. And so it's going to be history, it's going to be practice, all of the above. You are going to become a well-versed Kemetic spiritual practitioner. The tradition, the initiation is led by myself and Anika and the members of the Wenwet, the priest of the Shrine of Ma'at. So please, if you are considering initiation, submit your application.
They're asking where the application is.
The application is on our website, Shrine of Ma'at. You should know that Ma'at is spelled M-A-A-T, right? Because you're on the Shrine of Ma'at YouTube channel or Facebook page. But you should now go to our website, shrineofma'at.org, get an application and submit it as soon as you can. The first round of applications, those people who first submitted have already been interviewed, and those who we think are a great fit for our institution have already been notified of their selection. So now we're looking to sort of fill in the last half of our next class. So it is really important for you not to wait. It's time for you to make a decision. Now, you should know that it is not, you can still obviously partake in Kemetic Ascension without being an initiate, but there are many other things that the Shrine of Ma'at does that are only available to initiates. That's going to become even clearer once this pandemic recedes, because we even have events that are only for full members of the Shrine of Ma'at. We have trainings that are made available to full members of the Shrine of Ma'at. We have regular meetings. And let me say, it's not just about what you'll get. You will be one of the individuals who will help bring the tradition back into the modern world. Anika and I are working diligently. The Wenwet are working diligently. And members of our initiates are actually also working diligently. We are about to actually set some seeds down in Ghana in a minute. You should know that Anika and I have been really preparing for that, and I'm probably going to get beat up for announcing this on Kemetic Ascension. Anika just looked at me and shook her head no. We are likely going to be installed in Ghana, West Africa soon as well. She didn't shake her head no again, so I guess I'm not in that much trouble. Installment means it will be spiritual chieftain, spiritual Queen Mother. And so that is going to be happening in the central region of Ghana very soon. We are going to be setting some roots for the Shrine of Ma'at and for Kemetic spirituality on the continent of Africa. And so we're really looking forward to doing that. The Shrine of Ma'at is absolutely growing. And we think that so many of you actually would like to be part of this resurrection of the tradition of our African ancestors. So that's what we're doing. Yes, Anika.
I just want to say thank you, Twau, to Rich Douglas for his donation, to Dion Lives for their donation. So thank you so much for those donations that came in so far. For those who would like to continue to make the donations, you can send them through Cash App. And it's $ Shrine of Ma'at, or you can do it through PayPal through our website, www.shrineofma'at.org. Thank you so much, and thank you to those of you who are giving us stars on Facebook. We really appreciate all of the support. And I want to welcome Jersey in the house, Hillside, Jersey. We have
New Jersey, right?
Yes.
You're saying Jersey because you're in New York.
Yeah.
We just call it
No, it's
Jersey.
Jersey.
But we got people in Kenya that's like Jersey. What?
Kansas City, Missouri is in the house. Lakeland, Florida. We have Toronto, Canada.
Folks from all over the country and all over the world. And I just need to say that we are so honored that you are here with us. Something special is happening in this moment. If we absolutely tend to the process of bringing our ancient African traditions back into the world in their most powerful, their most comprehensive, their most impactful form, this moment will be the moment that our descendants will speak of for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. You are part of the process of bringing this back into existence. And that still means that there will be folks who actually push back. Because our place at the forefront of civilization has been usurped by others. It has been usurped by others. They ain't gonna necessarily be happy that we are awakening and returning to be our fullest, most excellent African selves. But you should know this process is necessary. Yes.
Hello to our friend in Lincoln, Nebraska, Jason Holmes, who's always online with us. And there are questions about our trip to Kemet, our trip to Egypt. You are not required to be an initiate to attend this trip. Anyone who is interested in attending this trip is welcome to join us. Information on the trip to Egypt, to Kemet, is at our website, www.centerforma'at.com. So it's a different website, but you can access it through both sites. But the direct site to find out more information about our trip to Kemet or Egypt, for those of you who are new to the word, it's www.centerforma'at.com. We will be traveling from August 1st to August 12th of this year, this summer, 2021.
You really should be ready to take this journey, to be able to see the magnificent civilization that your ancestors left behind. For thousands of years, people have been trying to destroy it, but they left so much material culture that actually attests to their greatness that it could not be destroyed. It is time for you to see it, to touch it, to smell it, to absolutely experience it for yourself. And so we're hoping that you will join us in this journey. Just like initiation, that window is closing quickly as well. And let me just say this because someone's going to ask, if we didn't think we could travel to Kemet, which has been misnomered Egypt in the modern day, and to Ghana safely, we would not be doing it. So, for those of you who are wondering, is it safe to travel? Our answer is yes. And so we are hoping that you will join us on that magnificent journey. So, I think it's time for us to move forward. I'm really pleased that you all have joined us. Let me say this to you. When you are here and you experience our Kemetic Ascension experience, when you actually are in our public worship session, my suggestion to you is for you to share it. I know that you know people that should also be here. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on YouTube. So those people who are friends of yours that should also be here are also aware of it. Don't just keep it to yourself. We are trying to build critical mass for the resurrection of our people, our traditions, and our spiritual mores. So, this is not a secret. You should be sharing so that we are able to galvanize enough energy to move forward in peace and prosperity. So I want to say dua to you, thank you to you, dua to you. And I'm once again honored that you've chosen to join us every other Sunday for Kemetic Ascension. This is magnificent. So, we are at the point in our service where we begin formally. And if you are going to begin formally in our Kemetic tradition, if you are going to begin formally and you are of the lineage of the Shrine of Ma'at, you will likely do that with one ritual. What is the name of the ritual? The ritual that was brought forward by our elder, Baba Heru Ankh Ra Samad Sepata. Please send him some myrrh for doing this, for his walk, which has been absolutely magnificent for over 50 years. Please tell us what the name of this ritual, this ceremony is. The ceremony that reminds us just how powerful we are, how divine you are, that you are in fact a vessel imbued with divine energy, capable of all things, capable of absolutely evincing yourself over all of those things that seek to set you astray. The name of that ritual is...
Tahuti must already give him the answer.
the opening of the way. And we say that you should do the opening of the way whenever you are about to do anything important. So, please, stand with me in the position of adoration. You're going to have your left foot forward, and then, in the manner in which our ancient African ancestors displayed their connection to energy, you're going to put your hands up with your palms facing forward. The left hand should be a bit further forward, and the right hand should be a bit further back, just as your right foot is a bit further back. And you can also have your right hand a bit lower than your left hand. The left hand is that which gives. The right hand is that which receives. You are creating a powerful spiritual energy circuit so that you can absolutely take in and send out divine spiritual energy. So please, stand with us. This is not theater. This ain't Netflix. Stand with us wherever you are in the world in a position of adoration and send divine energy out into the world. When you do that, you will also receive divine energy back. So, we stand in this manner. Don't bend your arms too much. I see people doing this. You're not going to see that on the walls. If your wrists are bent at all, they're bent slightly. And then from here, what you will do is you will take a breath, try to breathe deep in your belly, and we're going to chant the divine word known as, the word for life known as Ankh. And then you're going to see us move through the cardinal points as we recognize the divine energy that pervades our physical form. Let us begin.
Netrak in bed hat.
Netrak in bed hat.
Nook in bed hat.
Nook in bed hat. Netrak happy.
Netrak happy.
Nook happy.
Nook happy.
Twau enter. Turn to the right.
Netrak serket.
Netrak serket.
Nook serket.
Nook serket. Netrak kebsenuf.
Netrak kebsenuf.
Nook kebsenuf.
Nook kebsenuf.
Twau enter.
Netrak ast.
Netrak ast.
Nook ast.
Nook ast. Netrak amset.
Netrak amset.
Nook amset.
Nook amset.
Twau enter.
Netrak neat.
Netrak neat.
Nook neat.
Nook neat. Netrak dwamutef.
Netrak dwamutef.
Nook dwamutef.
Nook dwamutef.
Twau enter.
Anetrak Newt.
Anetrak Newt.
Nuke Newt.
Nuke Newt. Anetrak Geb.
Anetrak Geb.
Nuke Geb.
Nuke Geb.
Twao Inter. Anetrak Shu.
Anetrak Shu.
Shu. Shu. Shu. Shu. Nuke Shu.
Anetrak Tef Newt.
Anetrak Tef Newt. Tef Newt. Tef Newt. Tef Newt. Tef Newt. Nuke Tef Newt. Twao Inter. Anetrak Paut Interu. Nuke Paut Interu. Anetrak Boot Interu. Nuke Inbu Interu. Twao Inter. Twawinter. Twawinter, Twawinter, Twawinter. I hope that you have done the opening of the way with us. I hope that you absolutely feel the power of the opening of the way. I know I feel a bit more awakened, and this is important because I was tired. We've over the last few days. In fact, our lives are quite busy living the legacy, doing the legacy, thinking Ma'at, doing Ma'at, and being Ma'at. We are so pleased that you are here with us for this time. And I feel your energy, and I hope that you felt mine as well. Now, I know that some of you who are newer to Kemetic Ascension are saying, what are they saying? Now, you gotta know that we have explained this, right? All you have to do is look for opening of the way. And you should also look for Kemetic Legacy Today. That was the TV show that Anika and I aired on. It actually aired in many cities in the United States, and it's also on YouTube. Sometimes you'll even just see it called KLT, because when we were doing it, it was such some time ago that we weren't necessarily thinking that the YouTube audience was a large audience. It has become a gigantic audience. And so if you want to know more about how to do the opening of the way on YouTube, search for the opening of the way. And you can also go to our Facebook page, and you're going to see all of the writing. It's in the page that you're on if you're watching us on Facebook. Anika.
I also wanted to recognize Sinette Oye, who's in the chat room.
Go ahead,
Sinette Lauren is with us.
Sinette Lauren. We haven't seen Lauren in such a long time. A member of the Hem Senu. How I'm sure that your daughter is not small anymore. This pandemic has prevented us from seeing each other. It's wonderful to hear that you're there. Please give your mate our myrrh. And we miss you. We miss seeing you.
Also, Sinette Rausa is in
Sinette Rausa, another member of the Hem Senu.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's great to hear from you. And Sinette Oye, it's wonderful to know that you were there out in Philly, the city of brotherly love.
We have Abuka.
Abuka is on.
Abut Sashat.
That's another Philly brother. Members of the Wenwet. When you hear us mention the Wenwet, we're talking about the leaders of the Shrine of Ma'at. We're talking about the priest of the Shrine of Ma'at. We have those people that are helping us build the Shrine of Ma'at. And those individuals are the priest of the Shrine of Ma'at. We're so happy that they're there. So we have both Abu Khan and Abut Sashat, right?
Yes, and for Abut Sashat, there's more Connecticut members in the house. If you go to YouTube, we have some from Meridian, Connecticut. Also, there's a question about when we will be in Ghana.
Yes, we actually are going to be going to Ghana twice this year. At least twice. Why did I just put that into the universe? You don't know. The last 2 days, Anika and I have been trying to actually prepare for our trip to Ghana. And it's difficult, as you can imagine. Well, I'm going to just say it out front because Anika's thinking it already. My passport actually expired during the pandemic when everything was shut down. Right? And when it was time for me to get my new passport, I kind of waited a little bit because there was all kinds of strange stuff going on. Last year was difficult. So when we were ready to actually make our journey and prepare for our journey, I had to also wait for my passport to come. It came this week. So now we're hustling, trying to get our tickets because we are going to be in Ghana in March, very soon. And also in August. The Shrine of Ma'at is doing a lot in Ghana. In fact, I'm going to say to you that we are planning, Anika and I have been saying this for years, we're planning to set some roots in Ghana so that when, New York City and the East Coast is looking like it's going to have a major snowstorm, right? Like 8 to 12 inches or something like that. Now listen, I'm a New Yorker, a native New Yorker, so it's not like 12 inches scares me, but that doesn't mean I like it. So Anika and I would love to be able to say, oh, about to snow, we out, and just disappear and go back to the place where the sun kisses your face, where Ra greets you every morning in power, rather than being on the other side, us tilted away from Ra, and Ra being clouded by snow showers and rain showers. We would love to get closer. So hopefully we'll actually get to the point where we are able to be in places like the Bahamas. We're trying to set some roots there as well, and in Ghana shortly. Did the person that asked that, are they in Ghana?
I'm not sure. Let us know if you are in Ghana. I know there are a couple of people who are in Ghana who've been trying to reach out to us.
Yes.
We also have a question from Sister Benita. Are we licensed to do weddings?
Yes, we are. In fact, you should know that the Shrine of Ma'at, we are a full a spiritual institution. Our 501c3 should be done. I really hope it'll be done this year. We have local nonprofit status. We are recognized by both the federal government and the local government. So we are also legally ordained members of the priesthood. Now, I want you to be clear that our closest, our most powerful ordination comes from the Neteru. But being a legally licensed person is helpful when you're trying to assist people in doing those things that mark important moments in their life, like doing funerals and doing weddings and those sorts of things. So yes, we are licensed to conduct weddings. Yes. And we just did one, I guess it's a little over a week ago now, for a magnificent couple, Sinette, Tanya, and Sen Robert, out in Georgia. And so we do
online. We did.
Yeah, it was online.
Yes.
We do a number of weddings all year. I mean, this year has been shorter, has been slower because of the pandemic, but you should know that we usually do anywhere between a half dozen and a dozen weddings every year. And that's not the only ceremony we do, as you know. We just did a baby blessing. So we do everything from baby blessings to house blessings and all of those things. And you should know that we have priests. The Wenwet can easily be sent to your location to assist you in galvanizing divine energy in the most powerful way as you mark one of those most important moments in your life.
So Peyton, who asked us about Ghana, said that they'll be staying in Cape Coast about 4 hours from Accra. And we'll be in Cape Coast
We'll be in Cape Coast as well. Yeah, we might spend most of our time in Cape Coast because most of what we do is in the central region of Ghana. So is he going to be there while we're there?
Not sure.
You should let us know. By the way, if you have your itinerary, you can send it to Jed, D-J-E-D, at shrineofma'at.org. That's my email. Or Ma'at at shrineofma'at.org. And maybe we could even meet up on the other side when we go back to the motherland. We're going to be there quite a bit going forward. And it'll be magnificent. And for those of you who have been partaking in Kemetic Ascension, our other events, you should know, they got internet in Ghana. You will still see us. And definitely members of the Wenwet will be here and there and anywhere, so that we are building the Shrine of Ma'at so we can do more, so we have more personnel, more folks that can actually assist us in bringing back the powerful traditions of the most powerful nation of record. And so that is something that we are looking forward to do.
We're being asked when we're going to Kenya.
You know, the thing is, we have thought of Kenya many, many times. My aunt actually lives part of the year in Kenya, one of my close family members. And so we are actually thinking about when that's going to happen. But if you would like us to come to Kenya, talk to us, okay? Because we can go. Well, listen, we love being on the continent. So if there is a good reason for us to be anywhere on the continent, you can draw us rather than waiting for us to come there. Make sense? Wonderful, wonderful. Let me also say, as I mentioned my aunt, that I want to do a quick prayer before we do our Hesi, because we know that members of the Shrine of Ma'at, we have several members of the Shrine of Ma'at that are dealing not just in a ancillary way with the coronavirus, but we have a few members of our shrine that have been afflicted in this last week. And we have friends and family members who are also afflicted. As the pandemic has increased in recent months and weeks, more of the people that we know have been afflicted with it. So I just want to say that we are asking the power of Shu to come forward, to embolden your lungs, to allow you to receive divine healing. We are asking for the Neteru to come forward and to make you whole, and to make your families whole, and to ensure that in this most difficult time, you come through with the power of the Neteru. That the ancestors are there to help bring air into your lungs and bring solace and healing into all of your physical frame. We say, Dwan Ter, thank you to the divine for all of the healing that will be visited upon those people who are ailing in this difficult time, those people who are part of the body of the Shrine of Ma'at. We are asking for your assistance. We thank you for your favor. Dwan Ter. Dwanter, Dwawenter. There's so many of you that have been sick. I'm not going to say names because they'd like to be a little anonymous. Which is actually what Jabari wanted to do. As you remembered when I got the coronavirus almost a year ago. And that didn't happen because it started to leak. So I had to say something. That was difficult. Anyway, just know that we are thinking of you. Know that we are praying for you. Know that we know that this time has been difficult for you. It's been difficult for all of us. If we stay together, we will get through it together. At this point in our services, we usually do what we hesi. 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 Anika and I were just looking at our Metanetter dictionaries. We do it regularly, but we were looking at it and we found it that it was so interesting that the word Hesi is also a word in the dictionary that is just called praise. Praise. And so Hesi is often considered actually using words to draw in, to galvanize, to absolutely come into divine harmonic congruence. They're words of praise, and the word Hesi, one of the definitions is simply praise. And you should know that people of African descent have continually come and used song, and rhythm to actually get into divine harmony. And so it is very, very powerful. We've been doing it for a long time. You know today that we think about gospel, right? Gospel is just a manifestation of the African spiritual traditions. And I know that it has come out of traditions that have been in many ways manipulated, in many ways changed, has been created in some ways, depending on how you look at it, by those people who are not in our community, but recognize that gospel is just Africans demonstrating who they are in another tradition. That in fact, gospel is not new, it is ancient. I mean, when you see people singing gospel and enjoying it, you see them put their hands up. This very stance is the position that is the description of soul or spirit in the Kemetic tradition. So you had better understand, even when you look at the glyphs, you are seeing the fact that Africans be Africans. You hear what I'm saying? That we've been doing this stuff since before the written word. And so when we come to you with Hesi, we are hoping that you are going to use these simple chants to galvanize divine energy. We are hoping that eventually we'll get to the point where our Hesi will be as intricate. Our Hesi will have a number of instruments where it begins to be as cogent a body as modern gospel is. But right now what we like to do is just give you a few words that you can use in harmony. Things that perhaps will stick into your psyche that you'll use as you go through your day. So today, we've been working on a few, by the way, you should know, that are not quite ready for you. But today we actually wanted to do Kepara, Amen Ra, Aten Ra. Right? So, how does that start? You should know that Kepara, Amen Ra, Aten Ra, first of all, is a description of the journey of the sun. And in some ways, the description of your journey as well. Kepara being that symbol of the new sun, that sun reborn, that sun that has just come out of Nut, the lady of the heavens. Depicted usually as the beetle, right? Depicted often as the beetle. Sometimes you'll hear this called the scarab. That is what the Greeks called this. But of course we called it Keper, and in direct relation to the sun, we call this Kepara. And then we have the power of the sun in the height of the sky. The time at which the full power of the sun is easily noticeable. And that is called the Aten or Aten Ra. And then we go forward and we see the sun that has completed its work. The sun that is about to be hidden. And that is called Amen Ra. So, understand that as we think about the sun, we're talking about our journey as well. So, it is Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. That's generally how it goes. Okay? So, this is one of those Hesi that it's not as intricate, and generally the ones that are not as intricate are the ones that are more easily, they lend themselves more easily to trance. They lend themselves more easily to going into another space spiritually. So, we begin.
Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. 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 Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra.
Kepara,
Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra.
Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Aten Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Aten Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Aten Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen 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 Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Aten Ra. Kepara, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. Kepara, Atinra, Amenra. 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 So, when you're leading, when you're actually singing with one other person, you got to stay focused. I can just fly off. It's not easy to do that when you're doing it with two people. It is amazing when you're able to utilize the terms for the divine energy that pervades our entire space and have that tune in your mouth, in your mind, on your soul as you go through your day. We hope that you will also use Hesi as well. And we hope that you were singing with us, that you weren't just watching. Remember, this ain't Netflix, this ain't Hulu. What you think this is? You're not watching The Mandalorian, you're supposed to be part of this. So we hope that you and your family, you and the people around you are actually doing this with us. Sometimes people ask us, well, how should we be Kemetic? How should we practice the tradition of our ancient ancestors? And sometimes I say to them, you see us actually give you examples every Kemetic Ascension. We begin by absolutely recognizing the divine energy that pervades you and that is everywhere with the opening of the way. And then you hear us go into Hesi, and then we go into study, and then these are all manifestations, womb manifestations of how this tradition should live in your life, how it should actually exist as you go about your day. Don't let your day just be secular. That's not how Africans do it. That is not how Africans do it. Make sure that the divine lives within your experience on a daily basis. So we are hoping that you will do that. We are hoping that you will do that.
I want to say thank you to Sinette Tracy Walker for your donation, for your Cash App. We appreciate you. And I also want to welcome Sena Moye to YouTube.
Ankin Ma'at Senamoye, member of the Hem Senu. We haven't seen you in such a long time. We miss you. This pandemic has not allowed us to see so many members of our family in person.
And welcome to South Carolina. We see you're in the house. There's a question, do we have any shrines or priests in Florida?
We do not currently have a shrine or a priest in Florida. The only active shrine is the one that is in Harlem. But you can see that we have been hemnettering to people all over the world. Hemnettering. Sometimes you can say ministering. Well, one of the titles of the priest of ancient Kemet was the hemnetter, the servant of the divine. So we call this, we have just transitioned it into English, y'all. So we say hemnettering, right? So we do this all over, but you should recognize that we do believe that we would like to actually set other shrines in motion in other parts of the country. So Florida is not quite on our radar yet. Perhaps you should be assisting us in doing that so that we are able to have groups of people in different parts of this country, and in fact different parts of this world, that come together to absolutely practice in the manner that our African ancestors did for tens of thousands of years. And so we hope that you will help us do that.
And greetings to Sen Garrick. I see that he's in the room.
Greetings to Sen Garrick. He and his wonderful mate, his butter half, Lisa, are members of the Hemsanu. It is wonderful to hear you. We haven't seen you in a while, and that's just because this pandemic has been rough. Let me say to you that we are so pleased that all of you are here. It is magnificent when we come together, and we hopefully will be able to do this more in different places, in varied places. And let me just speak to your donation. We need your donations to be able to do the work that we are trying to do. We would like, even in the Harlem area, to have a space that is more commensurate with the work that we're doing. And we also are already branching out. So it would be wonderful for us to be able to have spaces all around the country and, in fact, the world. That is coming. That is coming. But the work must be done by us. Does that make sense? We got to do the work. We have to do the work. Do you know how many places I know people that are absolutely studied, that are absolutely enamored with the traditions of ancient Africa, that actually believe that ancient African spiritual traditions should be those that give us solace, those that give us strength in the world today? But where do they go every Sunday? They up in that church. And that's not to say anything negative to those of you who are going. But I want you to know that when you are doing that, you are actually following an echo of the African traditions. Why not actually find yourself amongst the African traditions themselves, rather than in, I'm trying not to say this and offend any, but maybe I should just be blunt, rather than in the copy of our tradition, and a poor copy at that. But one of the reasons why people still go there is because that's where the community is. I get it. That's where the community is. We are building community here, but we should be at a place where we have actual nuclei all over the world so that people are able to come together and do community, be community in the African sense today. And so we are hoping that you assist us in doing that. Your donations are very helpful. We're doing a lot, and we need you to assist us in doing it. So at this part of... Yes, I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you to a few other people who recently made donations.
Yes.
Anjay Bryant, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for continuing to be part of this experience.
Christina Gar, Demetra Bryant. Yes, I think Tracy Walker. Yes, so those are our newest donors. So
thank you so much. Dwa, dwa, dwa to you. We need your assistance in order to do the work that we must do. It's that simple. We need your assistance in order to do the work that we must do. So we are truly hoping that you continue to assist us. So, at this time, we should say that we go into what we call a word from the Sebayit. A word from the Sebayit. And the Sebayit are generally that body of literature, in fact, the oldest body of literature in the world that come out of Kemet. You don't have to just listen to others describe the ancient traditions of your most prominent African ancestors. You can read what they wrote about how to live life yourself. And perhaps one of the best bodies of Kemetic literature for you to read are called Sebayit literature. And today we are going to be talking about the world's oldest complete book. That book is known as the Maxims of Ptahhotep. If you have been regularly part of Kemetic Ascension, you know that Priest Jabari continually draws from this wonderful book. 37 maxims on how to live a divine life. You are seeing here on the left the image of Ptahhotep. The image of Ptahhotep. This is a full-color, nearly life-size statue of Ptahhotep. And you can actually see that he is a person of African descent. I think it's amazing that this book, written by our African ancestor, is one of those things that continues to come down to us, and it attempts to actually explain to us how we should live a divinely balanced life. You can listen to what your ancestors said. And as you listen to what they've said, you're going to find that much of what they are describing, is absolutely applicable today. Absolutely applicable today. And so I am hoping that you will take it and read it. So today I want to focus on 3 of the maxims that Ptah gives to us. I want to talk about an important topic. I want to actually focus on something that people deal with every day. The kind of thing that makes them uncomfortable. The kind of thing that causes them stress. The kind of thing that destroys relationships. And if I had to sum it up in one word, I'd say it's the word conflict. Conflict. It is so important that we think about how to deal with conflict in our lives. You're going to find that our ancestor, the wise sage Ptah, gives us amazing suggestions on how to deal with this issue. It is of critical importance. And let me say to you that this focus has been extremely present for me recently. You have heard me say that Anika and I have been doing the work of the Shrine of Ma'at. Listen, you should know the Shrine of Ma'at does not pay our bills. The Shrine of Ma'at does not employ us. We work for the shrine, but we do not get paid by the shrine because it is a labor of Ma'at. It is a labor of love. We put our own resources into the Shrine of Ma'at. And of course, our own resources are not enough to do the sort of things that we need to do. But I will say to you that recently, within the last few weeks, months, years, that work has gotten bigger, and that there are more people that are familiar with. In fact, there are more people that are working in fact, there are more people that are inspired, directed, assisted by the Shrine of Ma'at now than have ever been. And that is a blessing. The Neteru have truly blessed us, have given us the wherewithal, the resources. Even though those resources are meager, they don't stop us from head nettering. They don't stop us from doing the work that is our charge. Do you know that when a priest receives an ankh, they are given a charge? In some ways, this is my ankh. It has been with me for more than 10 years, but if I violate my charge, I'm expected to give my ankh back. Did you know that? And that's the reason why I can't just act a fool in the street. Because the elder priest that gave me this ankh could call it in. A recall. You know how you watch the news and they say, there's been a recall on tuna. You need to bring your cans back. You could get a recall on your ankh. I'll be watching the news after acting a fool in the street, after fooling around and having people yell World Star, whatever else they're going to yell to celebrate the madness that goes on in the streets. And I would see a recall. There's been a recall on Jabari Osaze's ankh. Please bring it to the nearest location of the Studio Ptah immediately. Thank you. That's why we have to continue to be in Ma'at. Because my charge is represented by this hardware. It's my charge. But as we do this work, as Anika and I do this work, recently something else has happened. Sometimes, you ever just go about doing stuff and you don't actually stop and look back at what's happening? And so you might not actually recognize that there is actually a pattern that is occurring. Well, Anika and I have recognized a pattern most recently. That as the Shrine of Ma'at grows, as the Shrine of Ma'at is doing more, we are meeting more resistance. How many of you that the Shrine of Ma'at had a public ceremony for the members of the Wen Wet? Now, you know that during the pandemic, to come together and do something in person means big things. It means that it was important, right? Because let's be honest, most of the time you see us these days, it's through the internet. Right? Well, if you know that we came together for something, that means that it was pretty important. And so, I guess it's 2 weeks ago now, a little over 2 weeks ago, it was 2 Saturdays ago, we actually came together to recognize the work of those priests that are the leaders of the Shrine of Ma'at. Anika and I are Hemneter and Tepi. So sometimes when we are referenced in plural, we're just called the Tepiu. That's the two of us. We're the actual head of the shrine. But right with the head of the shrine are the rest of the Wen Wet. Those priests who are working to build the Shrine of Ma'at. They are the leaders of the Shrine of Ma'at. There are at least two of them in the room right now. Talking about Abu Ka and Abu Shad. Who else is here?
Wasarat.
Oh, Wasarat. And Abu Wasarat. These three individuals have been toiling. They have been working hard. Especially during the pandemic, to Hemneter to you. And we are honored to have these 9 individuals with us. We meet every week, and we do stuff all week long. But recently, something different has happened. With the ceremony that occurred 2 weeks ago. You might have actually tuned in, seeing. If you have liked our page, you probably actually got an alert. Hey, the Shrine of Ma'at is live on Facebook. You might have tuned in. I hope that you saw a magnificently sacred ceremony. And our ceremonies are private. We don't always do them in public, but we thought that we should do this one in person, in public, because we wanted you to see and wet. We wanted you to see them because as we are doing more, as we are growing more, as we are taking on more responsibility for more people around the world, you need to get to know those people who have made a commitment to you, who have also taken the charge. Now, you should know that there's a year priesthood training program. But they are not the trainee priest or priest later. They're priests now. Because the reality is, as a priest, you are always training. But this ceremony marked the end of the first year of the priesthood training program. And Anika and I worked very hard to find a space to do it. Well, first of all, we found a space. I'm not going to call the name of the space. We found a space that actually is an art gallery, and Anika and I were rushing to get everything together, and as we were there, one of our priests, Abut Mehert, that you may know as Abut Nuni, actually got there before us and said, the door is locked, and there's a guy in there that says that there's nothing scheduled. I said, what? No, we're there. So Anika and I rush over to the space. It's just a few blocks from here. And Anika had said to me, I spoke to her. She said they're painting. Now listen, there was a dude with a canvas who was painting something. And he probably didn't observe because here was his time to paint something. That's what I heard. I realized, no, they're not painting canvas. They're literally painting the walls. Everything is askew because they are literally painting the room. And the brother that was there was polite, but a little frustrated because here it is, he's been paid to paint, and he wants to kind of get it done quickly. Because obviously, if you have to do your job, now hustling backwards, as they say in the hood, right? If you're able to do it quickly and get out, then that's good. You've been paid and you did your job. But now here are these people saying that we're supposed to have an event. In fact, the owner of the gallery thought that instead of having our event on Saturday, it was Sunday. And we're all there and he says, can you come back Sunday? Can we come back Sunday? No. So what does he do? He calls someone on the same block that the gallery is located on. And he says, I've spoken to the owner of a restaurant that is on the corner. I'm going to name this restaurant. I am going to name this restaurant. I'm going to name it. Anika's disagreeing. I'm going to name it. You don't think I should call him out?
No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary.
Just know that this restaurant that is on the corner, the owner agreed with the owner of the gallery and said that we could have our event there. So we went to the area. They had an outdoor area, but it was heated, so that it was kind of okay. The area was very small, as you might see. It was small, so it was difficult for us to do what we were doing, but we make do because we are those individuals who are guardians of the scales. We rebalance things so that if something is askew, we work around it and we make it work. So that's what we were doing. Now you should know that the owner of the restaurant, for whatever reason, he was not there when we got there. So we were probably maybe halfway into our ceremony and the owner arrived. Now, sometimes individuals can almost have an allergic response to the traditions of our ancestors. They have been inculcated in the traditions of others. And sometimes they are the biggest proponents of those traditions that were created, that were led by individuals who had to destroy, or at least they thought destroy, our traditions in order to supplant us. That's what happened with Islam and Christianity and Judaism. They thought they needed to destroy our more ancient traditions in order to become the traditions of the world. And if you were just going to look at the last 1,000, 2,000 years, you could say they were successful. But we know that your presence here means that they were not. The fact that you are with us at this moment means that they were not successful. And that while we have been in a great battle, and we might have taken a few blows to the chin, we are not confined to the canvas. We are standing and we are back in the fight to resurrect the traditions of our African ancestors. So the owner of the restaurant comes in and he says, I'm sorry. This has to end right now. I was not told that this was what was going to happen. He looks really upset. And in the live video, you will see Jabari go to speak to him. Remember I said that people can have allergic reaction? Right? You know that this guy, a person of African descent, was so angry that he was yelling out as loud as anyone could yell. He was actually, when I reached him inside of his restaurant, he was kicking his furniture. He was trying to destroy his own restaurant. He took a stool and slammed it into his own bar. And he said he was taking a stool to throw it through the window of the gallery. He was violently angry. So today, as we talk about finding balance in conflict, you had better know that that kind of stuff has been happening to us recently. So look at us standing here looking so magnificent. Do you notice the black line? We absolutely just took and went back to the gallery that was still being painted. In fact, Anika almost lost it. When she looked at the live video, at one of the times when we're speaking to the When Wet, you're going to see a dude in the background painting the wall. He painting the wall while we doing a ceremony. That's what happened. That's what happened. Take a look here. This is in the restaurant. And don't the one what look so happy? This is before the madness occurred. You can see here kneeling on the left, you see Abu Tehuti, also known as Abu Zephaniah. Right above him, you're seeing Abu Mahert, also known as Abu Noni. Behind her, you're seeing Abu Ames. To his left, you are seeing Abu Kepra. And then right beneath Abu Kepra, you are seeing Abu Sashat. And they were there and happy. Can you see their happy, the happy looks on their faces? This is before the funkiness happened. Look at the table that we created. This was the table for ceremony, the altar for ceremony that we created. And while we were in a very small space, we were making do. I want you to take a look briefly at what happened. I don't know if the video will actually play there, but take a look at what happened when we actually tried with our owner and the owner came. Some of you might say this. I know Sen Jehuti Mess. You don't often see him in our events, and it's not because he doesn't attend. He's at everything we do. He's often behind the camera. He is just one of those individuals that is completely committed to the growth of the Shrine of Ma'at. So when he comes, he says, what can I do to help? He don't, nice, I'm gonna have a seat, this is nice. He says, what can I do? He grabs the camera, he just doing it. How many hours it takes, Sen Jehuti Mess, who I have known forever, actually is there to assist. And the thing that's so funny is, when things go crazy, you're going to see the camera shift to a car in the street. Because, did you notice that? Because Sen Jehuti Mess was thinking, wait a minute, if this gets really ugly, should I be broadcasting this on Facebook? Right? Take a quick look at this. This is the kind of pushback, the kind of conflict that we have seen with the work that we have been doing recently. Take a look. So at first I'm trying to say this has to stop. He didn't tell Jehuti Mess says turn the camera to a car outside. He's like, should I actually be broadcasting this? Jabari has now gone inside. You're gonna hear a scream. Listen.
To make sure that you are prepared to offer all that needs to be offered to our community. Where you've come from and what your needs to be. Are you ready for your final? That's a good person.
Did you hear him scream that loudly? This man lost it. And I'm going to say to you, I am a priest of Ma'at. Do you hear him screaming? Look at people kind of like going to see what's going on. There's Abu Kepra saying, okay, should I go see what's going on? Look, Anika trying to continue. You hear the crashing. He is now destroying his own bar. And Sen Jehuti Mess is still like, what should I be doing? Should we still be continuing? I'm not sure what to do. That actually happened. That actually happened. And I'm going to say to you, Sen, you've been coming to Shrine of Ma'at events. He's a member of the African Village out of Brooklyn, a retired police officer. He actually, when I went inside, if you look closely, you're going to see he trails me. because he realizes, wait, this guy doesn't look, he's actually on an uneven keel. He wants to make sure that I am not in danger. I'm going to say, as violently and as rabidly violent as this owner was behaving, I never actually thought I was in danger. Perhaps that's because at this point I was so ensconced in divine energy that I was completely shielded. Perhaps it's because I know the scales of Ma'at are not just that which balance me, but they are the tools of my defense. Perhaps it's because Heru Kuhuti was there with me. Perhaps I was prepared to go to battle if I needed to. But I never actually thought as violently, almost anyone else would have thought that they were in danger. I never thought I was in danger. Maybe it's also because I don't let the glasses, I could shoot the 5 like anybody else. But just know that I absolutely never thought I was in danger. But this actually could have destroyed the entire ceremony. It could have destroyed the experience that the priests were having. I was committed not to do that. I was committed not to do that. I wanted to be sure that this would not be a negative experience for our Wenwen. And this is so important. Because I think, sorry, someone is just trying to reach me, and I need to let that I'm in session. I need to let you know that I was absolutely committed to having this ceremony occur, because the priests have worked hard and they deserve it. There's no way I'm going to let this conflict prevent us from actually moving forward. And you should also know this is not the only thing that has happened. Why we attempted just last week to have a Google Meet for our trip this year. And I'm going to tell you, we have been using Google Meet now, I'd say for years. And we do all of our classes in Google Meet. We have our shrine meeting in Google Meet. Last Saturday was the first time that we had been hacked. And so someone was in our meeting trying to destroy our meeting. He was muting us while we were speaking. He had inappropriate videos. We were struggling to try to allow the meeting to continue about 5 or 6 minutes to actually get things back in control. So both of these things could get you shook, get you confused, get you scared, get you actually out of Ma'at, throw you off your axis. I'm going to say to you as a get it done. I'm going to say as a practitioner, as a guardian of the scales, we simply balance. And so when things are out of balance, because we focus on the scales, things being out of balance don't scare. We don't easily get shook, y'all. This is a practical manifestation of focusing on Ma'at in your life. It's the reason why I didn't get nervous or scared when this guy was destroying his own property in a violent manner. It's the reason why we worked to protect our meeting and we're finally able to get it back on track. We didn't get so scared that we just left and went off crying in the fetal position in the corner. We don't get shook. But you should know when you are doing things that are important, there will be those entities seek to destroy your good works. If you are not expecting it, you will not be prepared for it. You must understand that if you are doing something powerful, there will be detractors. There will be insurgents. There will be those people who seek to destroy all of those wonderful things that you have done. There'll be people who are trying to rip up your fields. There'll be people who will be trying to destroy the spaces that you create. There'll be people who will be trying to seed, to sow discontent amongst your family. But as a practitioner of Ma'at, as a guardian of the scales, we don't get shook. We simply rebalance. And so you should ask yourself, what is said in our ancient tradition around dealing with conflict and dealing with angry people? I mean, what happens when people are in difficult situations? Do the Kemetic texts tell us how we should handle it? You'll actually be surprised that there is much said around with inequity, dealing with imbalance, dealing with insurgents, dealing with those people who seek to sow discord. Them 5,000 years ago. You think with all of the things that we built that were magnificent, that there weren't people who were trying to destroy it. See, evidence of our tradition. So let's look at one of the maxims of Ptahhotep. Listen to what he says. This is maxim number 2. He says, if you meet a disputant in action, a powerful man, superior to you, fold your arms, bend your back. To flout him will not make him agree with you. Make little of the evil speech by not opposing him while he's in action. He will be called an ignoramus. Your self-control will match his pile of words. Now, when this dude, I hate to even call him an owner of a restaurant, a black-owned restaurant in Harlem, just a few blocks from here, by the way. And you know, the funny thing is that he doesn't seem to understand. I'm going to say this in a minute. I could have easily gone in there and met him with force. I could have done that. But I think that he was probably stunned because, first of all, I didn't run away. He was throwing things around. I stood like this. I stood like this, just walking to him and talking. Calmly. He was yelling and screaming and using the most profane language you should know. Using the most profane language. By the time I followed him inside, I saw him kicking one of his own banquettes. I said, oh, this dude is really having an allergic reaction to powerful spiritual. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. You know, sometimes the thing that's good for you can actually harm you. You have actually done things in life, your body, your physical form, to be so unhealthy that those things that are good hurt you. Speak to me. I know you know what this is like if you've been with individuals who have come from a place of dis-ease to health. When you first put those things that were good for you in your system, your body probably says, what the hell is this? Well, this happens in the physical world as well. So I did not actually prepare to fight him. I was like water. I bended my back. He's almost talking about the rope-a-dope here. And I didn't actually talk to him about how ridiculous what he was saying was, because I recognized that he would actually burn out. And I'm sure that everyone saw him as an ignoramus. By the way, when he came outside, one of the things that Anika said to him, he said the gallery said that you were going to be coming in maybe for some coffee and a meeting. No, not at all. I'm sure he didn't say that. We certainly didn't say that. We were very clear about the event we were trying to do. But Anika, she said, you're not even spending any money. Anika said, well, after the ceremony, we could probably all sit down and eat. You would think that his restaurant was crowded And because it was crowded, he was actually going to be taking away from the business that was coming in by having us there. There were 3 groups in his restaurant. And when I say groups, I'm being generous. There were 2 individuals and a group of 3 people. So there were 6 people total in his restaurant. Our group was 12 people. We more than doubled the number of people in his restaurant. And if he had accommodated us, we would have given the money for our rental to him. He'd have made out like a fat cat, as they say in the hood. His ignorance harmed him. I don't even know if he realizes it. By the way, we live down the block, and Anika and I, one of the things that we have that has always been emblematic of our relationship is we like to eat out. Perhaps that's because our first date was dinner at a restaurant. So our relationship has been marked by the fact that we like to go out and eat. Right? Now, when we were first doing it, I had my little work study check. And Anika was there trying to buy multiple entrees on my little work study check. This is true.
Stop.
She gonna say stop, but I speak truth. I am ma'akeru. She ordered and I'm sitting there, and the waitress like, sir, what would you like to order? Is there a charge for water? Could I have some ice? I wasn't sure how I was gonna pay for this meal.
The drama.
Now I'm gonna say to you, it was worth it. It was an investment in the woman I would engage. But I was certainly a little scared when she started ordering. But today, we're no longer in that situation. We can go to a nice restaurant and spend a nice little bit of money. And we live right down the block. Space, and Anika and I said, oh, this is a good space for even the shrine to have, a meal together. It only understands what he's lost. But he does not, because he had tons of evil speech and he was clearly an ignoramus. That's the first maxim. Let's go to maxim number 3. If you meet a disputant in action who is your equal, on your level, you will make your worth exceed his by silence. While he is speaking evilly, there will be much talk by the hearers. Your name will be good in the mind of the magistrates. It's hard to tell whether this gentleman, and I'm going to call him that to be polite, was my equal or obviously I was in his space, so in some ways he was more powerful than me. But I'm going to say, listen to how he describes this. He said, first he starts with someone who's more powerful than you. Then he goes to someone who is your equal. He says, you don't need to fill the air with evil words like this person is. And that the people watching will recognize that he is out of balance. Your name will be good in the mind of the magistrates. He's talking about the people who are judging what is occurring. That's what he's saying. That in fact, how you are viewed by your community is important. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's referring to here. How many of you are actually meeting evil speech with silence? Now, silence doesn't mean that you should run away. Silence does not mean avoidance. Silence means that you can simply look at someone like they out of their good, ever-loving mind. That's what he's talking about. He's saying that matching evil speech with evil speech does no one. That is what he is saying. So obviously, if we started in Maxim 2 with talking about how one should behave with someone who is more powerful, and then in Maxim 3, he speaks to you about how you deal with someone who is your equal. You know that the final maxim for today must be how you deal with someone who is not your equal, who is weaker. Let's look at Maxim 4. It says, if you meet a disputant in action, a poor man, not your equal, do not attack him because he is weak. Let him alone. He will confute himself. Do not answer him to relieve your heart. Do not vent yourself against your opponent. Wretched is he who injures a poor man. I love that line. Wretched is he who injures a poor man. One will wish to do what you desire. You will beat him through the magistrate's reproof. I think it's powerful that he's saying that because you have power to use it justly. That just because you can beat someone doesn't mean that you should beat someone up. It does not mean that. Wretched is he who injures a poor man. I think you're going to find yourself amongst your traditions, African ancestors, is the poor man. That's what you will find, that you are emboldened, that you are enriched, that you are empowered by the traditions, by the words, by the thoughts of your ancestors that have been verified through the ages. That is what you will find. You'll find that Maxim 4 will do you better than Maxims 3 and Maxims 2. That in fact you are the rich one. And that when someone is acting a fool, thinking that they are more than they are, and you see them as that person who is, that you should actually not attack them because you could. Don't put them on their behind because you know you can. Their words will confute them. Let them act a fool. Let them act a fool. And that one of the things, once again, that is so important is your standing within your community. How many of us have the wherewithal? How many of us absolutely have the spiritual wellspring? How many of us have the backbone to actually stand when someone is attacking us? And not to meet their anger with anger because you think that this is an eye for an eye sort of thing. How many of us are doing that? Well, he did this, so I did that. She did this, so I did that. Is that balance? Divine balance. The balance of the scales of Ma'at. Is it something more than is being described here? This is powerful, y'all. Ptah, who is telling us balanced life as he has reached the aged part of his life, that he is actually, in the book he says he's 110 years old. He says he's so old that walking is difficult, that breathing is difficult, that seeing and hearing is difficult. But he's writing this book for his spiritual son, so that his son can understand how to live a life of divine balance, a life in Ma'at. Folks, I'm going to say to you, the rubber hits the road when you're in conflict. It's really nice to be all woke and all community-based and sisters when they're smiling back at you. When the rubber hits the road, it is when someone meets you with anger, meets you in conflict. How did you behave? Are you still a guardian of the scales? Are you still one who rebalances? One that sets things back into their proper place? Or you gonna let your life be all cattywampus? I love that word. All askew. Are you gonna let things be all out of balance? Well, understand you have a higher responsibility. If you have claimed that you are one members of the body of Ma'at, if you are saying that you are a practitioner, there is behave. You have a higher standard, Kemetic. It is this standard that allowed your ancestors to build the most powerful nation in all of human history. Ptahhotep is not telling you. Ptahhotep is telling you how powerful you are. You, in your day, in your journey. Measure yourself according to how you behave when you meet the disputant in action. What does that mean? Maybe he's already singing. Maybe he's already frothing. Maybe he's already cursing. Maybe he's already making a fool of himself. How do you respond? I'm hoping that you will listen to these words, nearly 5,000 years old, and they will help you live a life of balance, that you will be makeru, truer voice. Please use this in that we may all rebalance our community, that we will come back into spiritual harmony once more. If you follow these traditions, we will once again move to the human civilization. Need you, the elements, to be members, to be part. That everything outside is unbalanced right now. Well, you must be an element of balance. You yourself must be the scales. This is the way that we will once more be powerful. I say, the divine force in me meets the divine force in you. Thank you so much. Anika, can you please come forward for our final affirmation?
Sure. I'd like to say Twa'u, first of all, to Sinette, Anna, who had my back and recognized that it's okay to want a nice meal for your first date. So, imagine to this day, years later, he is still talking about that.
7 years. She should be in trouble.
Excuse me.
We've been married 20 years. That was 27 years ago.
7 years ago, he was talking about that one meal that almost broke him in half.
Now I'm going to tell you, it was worth it. It was worth it. It was an investment. But with my little work study check, I just saw it. I was like, will I still be cool if I have to wash dishes while she head home? Anyway.
But thank you, Twa'u, for that support. But anyway, just a few announcements again for those who are interested at www.shrineofma'at.org, and you can download an application and fill that out. And you can email it back to us at ma'at@shrineofma'at.org. So please do that soon. We'd like to finish our last rounds of interviews so that we can secure everyone's spot and then be able to start our training in late February. Mm-hmm. For those of you who'd like to travel with us to Kemet, Egypt this summer, August 1st to August 12th, please visit our website at www.centerforma'at.com. And there you'll get a brochure, and you'll be able to get more information about the trip, the itinerary, and all of the expectations, and all of what we will be offering for the price. And we have a video that gives information about the trip as well. So anyone who missed out on our information session, you can watch the video either on our Shrine of Ma'at page or our Center for Ma'at page or even Kemetic Legacy Today and get more information about the trip. But please, then the airline prices go up. So we're trying to, once you make a deposit, we can secure your seat on the airline and then be able to move forward. If anyone has any questions, you can always email me at ma'at@shrine.org. Okay. So at this time, we'd like to end with our favorite prayer, one of the oldest known in our tradition, called the Amasu, found in the forth by day from night. So in the pose of adoration, we will say it in our ancient language of the Meta Netter and then repeat it in English. I'm a suing pante.
I'm a suing pante.
Sauk suim it ran pante.
Sauk sumit ran pante.
Autu aura.
Autu aura.
Maketi paherura.
Maketi paherura.
Give yourself to the one most high. Keep yourself dirty for the divine. And do it tomorrow just as you did it today. Twa winter.
Twa winter.
Thank you to the divine.
Thank you to the divine.
And thank you.
We can't wait to see you again. We'll see you here again in 2 weeks for Kemetic Ascension. Shema Matep, go forth in peace, and we will see you soon. Peace.